It's another day, and guess what? It's another My Team Career Mode episode, and today we are going to the gorgeous country that is Austria. Now, in the last episode, I managed to secure my 4th win of the season, my 4th in a row, after one of the best qualifying laps I've ever driven. I managed to find 8.5 tenths from basically nowhere. Now, Austria is, of course, the track that all of the sweat lords try hard at in time trial. It's also a track that I despise with a burning passion. So will today be the day that my win streak ends? I bloody well hope not, but let's go find out by heading to quali. Right, so here we are in quali, and I actually completely forgot to mention that this is actually the first sprint weekend of the season. Now, let's find my Austria setup. Where is it? Right, well, anyway, let's not waste any more time and head out for my first of 2 hot laps here in Austria. Now, keep in mind as well that because the wonderful developers of this video game over at the Codemasters, well, we know them for their laziness, and well, in this game, Formula 1 2023, the sprint format is actually the original one, where you qualify for the sprint race in this quali I'm doing now, and then the sprint race qualifies you for the main race. I pray to God that they change it to what it actually is now in F124, but yeah, it's a bit of a joke, but anyway. We're a 10th up on Denetauga through Sector 1, which ain't too bad. Although keep in mind that the top 5 cars, so us, Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren, Red Bull, and I believe Alpine as well, we are all way above the next car down, which I believe is Haas. So there's actually a very large gap in between the Haas cars. Basically, the 6th best team and the 5th best team are split by like half a second. So, let's make our way around the final sector. Try not to go over track limits. It's a very lap. I'll give the lap an out of 10. And it is only going to bank us in P14. Now, I was actually P14, I believe, after my first run in Canada. And we know what happened there. If you haven't, go watch it. I'll just say it now anyway. I went on to qualify 2nd. So, it definitely ain't over, and I predict that the gap to that sort of top 5 area is going to be quite small. Let's go take a look. And yep, I was right. There you can see 7 tenths away from P1, but look at these gaps. 4-4, 4-4, 4-4, 4-4, 4-3, 4-2, and then 2-6, 2-3. So there's 2.5 tenths between the top 9. So basically, at the moment, every thousandth actually does matter. Incredible scenes. Yuki Tsunoda up in P5 as well. We need a strong weekend from him, but we need a strong weekend from me as well, and being down in P14, even if I improve by like 4 tenths, that's only going to put me in the top sort of 6 area. I need to go big or go home here. We've come in quite a large amount of traffic here. That is going to sort of ruin my chances a little bit, but there's nothing I can do. And let's begin my 2nd hot lap, where I need to actually give it some serious beans. We are going to be taking Risk It for the Biscuit to a whole new level by doing Risk It for the Chocolate Digestives from Tesco's. Right into that braking zone. It's a little bit wide, but honestly, it's not that bad. Get on power early, and there it is. Half a second already, just by keeping it clean and braking a bit later than I did on the previous lap. Now getting round here, let's try and get a decent exit. Lots of oversteer, losing a little bit of time, but not too much. Now into the fast left, it's a little bit wide. Get on throttle nice and early. Also this corner, keep it tight. Get on throttle really early. Little bit of a slipstream from Williams here. He is going to pull me along quite nicely, but is going to get in my way going through the final 2 corners. Here are the final 2 corners. I got a little bit wide, a little bit off the curb, round the final corner. It's a decent lap all round, a little bit of a toe from the Williams. 6 tenths is going to put us where? P5, okay. Honestly, not as magical as my P2 in Canada, and I did go off the track a couple of times. But I don't think that's too bad, seeing as we also have a sprint race as well, and obviously the sprint race qualifies you for the main race. If I could just gain 1 or 2, 11 milliseconds off P4. But you know, a 10th away from pole, and that 10th was very findable. I don't think that's too bad. But we're going to head into the sprint race, starting P5, unless, of course, someone takes an engine penalty, which I don't actually think applies in the sprint race, but knowing this game, you could turn up for the sprint race and you'll end up in Saudi Arabia instead. But anyway, let's get into that sprint race, and I'm going to target a top 3. Right, Saturday afternoon, and we are ready to go for the Austrian sprint race. Now, I'm not going to bother looking at all this because, quite frankly, no one cares. So here we are on the grid, P5, softs, a little bit less fuel. I think we're ready to cook. And so for the first time of 2 times today, the lights are on, optimal RPM, and we're off. And that is a lovely start. We are already going to jump ahead of a Red Bull, and we are already going to jump ahead of a Mercedes, and we're actually going to go around the outside of the other Mercedes, and look at that! P5 to P2, going into the first corner. A horrible start from Piastri, I think that was. Jumps me up to P4, and then around one Mercedes, and then wheel to the outside of the other. I am cooking in this car. Unfortunately, Tsunoda's dropped back quite a few positions. He's currently outside of the top 5, but we can continue to root for him. I think he can make a comeback, but now, main target, try and catch Norris. Iwasa as well. P1 to P4. Very bad from Iwasa. Right, end of lap 1. We can still see Lando Norris, half a second away. We are in the DRS, and I have quite a considerable straight line speed advantage, I think. Let's test it out. What kind of speed can I hit in comparison to Norris? I am catching quite quickly. Not enough to go for a move, but that is very promising that I do seem to have the straight line speed to compete. Actually, I just got an unbelievable exit. I could go for it here, you know. Dump the ERS. Go to the outside. Get right up on that curb. Brake as late as possible. Get round. Oh, that is gorgeous. Hang it up in the Louvre. Put it next to the Mona Lisa. That is different gravy. Now I need to try and save some ERS, and of course when Norris gets DRS, try and defend from him as well. Now we get to see what my straight line speed actually entails now that he's got DRS and I don't. I am going to go over here on the right, down the straights to avoid the slipstream, and we'll go from there, see what we can do. First DRS straight, looking pretty comfortable, though Norris is catching fairly quickly, which I am not happy about, but we are going to survive. And my exits seem to be really strong as well. I don't know if the AI is sort of saving their rears a little bit. We saw that happening in the last race in Canada. But my exits just seem to be a lot better than the AI, which is of course huge. Alright, so I'm very slow through the final 2 corners, but I think that's because I am running a lot less downforce than most of the cars here. That's just a guess. Maybe I'm just slow, I'm not too sure. But Norris is considerably closer on this lap than the other lap. I'm going to try and save 30% ERS down this next straight, but let's see if my exit is still good. Yes, it is. Lovely stuff. Let's escape from Norris. Also, okay, so Tsunoda's moved up into the top 5. I was about to say, as it only got done by Sainz, but he got the place back. Tsunoda in the top 5. He's quite far away from Piastri, so he might just stay top 5. But still, not a horrible weekend so far for Tsunoda. As I say that, he's now dropped back out of the top 5. Why do I bother? You can see how Norris, see how close he is now. He's not happy about me being in P1 and himself being in P2. He's going to go for it. He's going to go round the outside of me. I'm going to brake a little bit earlier so I don't drive him off the road. Give him some racing room. And now, do I even have enough to hold him back? Norris late brakes and... what? Okay, my wheel just died there. I don't know if you saw, but... as I turned into that corner, my wheel was just, you know, the opposite direction. That's fine, I guess. Oh, and look at that. On the exit of the corner, I've got DRS. So I should be able to just... wait, why is he so quick still? Still wheel to wheel. Okay, I've regained P1. That was very weird. I don't know if that's a bug with F123 or my wheel. I'm going to assume F123. But I don't know if you saw that. When I went into that, the second corner... my wheel was only pointing about 70 degrees when I actually turned it 180. So there goes Norris around the outside. That's actually a lovely move from Norris. I can't even take that away from him. As we head into lap 6, although now I've got DRS, so should be able to try and get back past him, although he's got some really nice exits, doesn't he? His exits are stellar. Right, let's go, Norris. Let's do this thing. Come on, car. Show some passion. Show some will. I'm going down the inside this time. Whoa, he's going to barge me off the road a little bit. Give him room. And we are back into P1 now. I think what I'm going to do is, if Norris gets back past you on lap 7, I'm not going to try and re-overtake until lap 8. Just so I don't have to fight him on the final lap, I can just secure my win. And I don't know why, but the AI seem to be so good through that corner. Whoa, Norris! What are we doing, mate? Bro's going for some very dodgy maneuvers, I can't lie. Lap 7 now. Because of that little kerfuffle by Norris, he's actually lost himself, well, he almost lost himself P2, and has actually built a 1.5 second gap to me. So, cheers for that, Lando. Right, around the final corner to begin the final lap of this race. P1 by just over a second. I am going to avoid the DRS going into turn 1, which is obviously huge. Oh, and I've just gained another like 3 seconds on Norris there. Obviously, Piastri. Oh wow, it's actually a three-way fight there. Piastri, Russell, and Norris all fighting for P2 and 3 and 4 at the moment. And Piastri's done them both. What a lovely bit of racecraft from Oscar Piastri. He's managed to jump himself from P4 to P2 after 1 sector on the final lap here in the Austrian sprint race. What a driver. And around the penultimate corner. And around the final corner. At this point, was it really in doubt? Of course I'm going to win. Victory in the Austrian sprint race for Fusimus Crimitus the third. Another 8 points onto the tally. And there you go. Textbook. And of course, we will now start P1 for the main race. I targeted myself a P3. Gone and got myself a P1. What a driver. So here's your finishing results. 2.5 second gap back to Piastri. Great race by Piastri. P4 to P2 after 1 sector. Tsunoda actually managed to finish P5, so he gains 2 places from where he started. Not bad from him. And the driver standings, we now have a 42-point lead over Perez and a 33-point lead in the constructors. Quality stuff. Let's get to the main race on Sunday and cook. It is now Sunday afternoon for the Formula 1 Rolex Grosser Plis von Österreich 2023, and aka the Austrian Grand Prix. Of course, we're starting P1, and honestly, at the moment, we don't really have a championship rival. You'd think it's a Wasser, or Russell, or Perez, or someone else, but not really. I've got like a 40-point gap. I don't really have a rival, so there's no one else to really mention other than myself and my teammates. So I'm of course starting P1, Yuki Tsunoda in P5, and of course a soft medium strategy with low fuel. What did you expect? And for the second time today, of course this is the big one, the lights are on, the RPM is optimal, and that is a gorgeous start to a Grand Prix. Piastri is going to pressure me. I'm going to go a bit wider than usual, just to avoid getting hit in the side, and there is a massive scrap going on, and I've already built a 1.2 second lead off the first corner because Russell and Piastri were hard scrapping each other. What a time to be alive. P1 for Fusimus Crimitus the third, and now we can cook. Tsunoda once again has had a terrible start, and he's actually dropped way out of the points, I think. Like, he's gone. Right, at the end of lap 1, I have a 1.5 second lead. They are going to catch me quite rapidly. I'm very weak through that final couple corners. Just got to hope that Piastri can put up a bit of a fight to Russell, or else it's going to look a bit ropey. But already, I have a 5 second gap to the hard tyre runner of Sainz. Already, after 1 lap, 5 seconds. So it looks like it is going to be a fight between me, Russell, Piastri, and Lando Norris for the race win. Although with a safety car or a red flag or a weather change, you never know. DRS is now enabled. There is a 6/10 gap between Russell and Piastri, so I don't think anything's going to happen there. The only other battle going on, really, is Piastri to Norris, which the gap is only 3/10. So we can take a look at that and see if anything goes on. No, they are going to stay in their nice little single-file line. Verstappen's also managed to get past Sainz. Quite a tussle. And now my gap to, well, 5th is 5.5 seconds. But Verstappen is on soft tyres, so he might start catching us up a little bit. End of lap 3, and I'm only just avoiding being within DRS of Russell, and it's, yeah, I can't really go much quicker. I can't lie, it's looking a bit bleak. Alright, Russell's officially within a second of me, and he is truly cooking. These Mercedes drivers, these last couple races, I don't know if it's the car or they're both just popping off, but some of the races these guys are doing, unreal. So now we're on to lap 5, and, well, Russell is now right up my arsehole. And so is Piastri. And Norris. Great! Speaking of Russell, here he comes. He goes down the inside. He brakes later than me because I can't brake any later. I am going to get a DRS though, so I should be good to go. And Piastri might actually give it some on Russell as well. That'd be lovely. Go on, twat him. Do him in. Oh, round the outside for Piastri. That's brave. Can he get the exit though? He does. And Piastri up to P2. Nice move. Alright, Piastri is starting to cook me a bit now. Gap is 0.3 as we begin lap 8. And it's looking a bit crap if I'm being perfectly transparent. Although Russell and Norris have been scrapping a decent amount, so the gap to them is extended to 2.2. Verstappen's down to 3.5, and here comes Piastri. And unfortunately, I just can't brake as late as he can. However, I now have DRS, and with a very good exit out of that low-speed corner, he's... What? How is he going quicker in a straight line than me when I have DRS and he doesn't? Anyway, we're still wheel-to-wheel. Going into the fast left, we've got to go round the outside, give him space. We are really giving him space. And he's bottled it, just like Arsenal. What a bottle job. And we're back into P1, but this is bad. He is very quick. Right, here he comes again. And honestly, I don't really mind him going by here, because of course, there's going to be another DRS zone now. Oh, Piastri. You are silly. Of all the places to lock up, you chose there. Really? Anyway, we're going to get back past, but I am going to do that because now I get DRS. And with another decent exit, whoa, that was not a decent exit at all. ERS, DRS, get to the outside, sneak ahead, get in front, late on the brakes, he is going to go for it. Round the outside though, little bit of wheel spin, bit of oversteer, and once again we go wheel to wheel. I have the inside line, which doesn't really mean anything on this corner, and we are still wheel to wheel. The outside's probably a little bit better, and we are still going wheel to wheel, and finally I managed to come out on top. We are properly scrapping here, and that isn't an entirely good thing. It's good entertainment, but it is allowing Russell and Norris straight back into the picture, and Verstappen as well. He's been cooking, I don't even know what, but he's been popping off. And here comes Piastri again. I'm going to cover him off, but he is going to have DRS again. But again, if he goes past me, I'm not really too bothered, because there's another DRS straight. I'm more so focused on Russell now, because he's also going to go for a move. Although I've managed to hold Russell off. I've got a good exit. A little bit of wobble. ERS plus DRS. I'm going to go to the outside, because I don't really have a choice in that situation. Proper late on the brakes. Keep on the brakes. Round the outside. Throttle early. Nice move. And we are up to P1 once again. And I still have this lap and another 2 before I pit. But I have decided I'm going to go for an undercut, so I actually am going to pit on this lap. Well, not this lap, the next lap, I mean, sorry. And here comes Piastri again. Look how fast his car is in a straight line around that area. And I don't know even why, I don't understand it. But we are going to continue to go wheel to wheel. Whoa! Big snapper on the rear. DRS for me. Russell fighting Piastri. Norris looking for a little third party. And it is going to be Russell now into P2. Piastri's had a stinker. Piastri's dropped to P4. And now I've got to deal with Russell. Oh, it's just relentless, isn't it? Here goes Russell. Remember, do the tactic. Give me DRS rather than him. Get a decent exit. That is not a decent exit. Foot to the floor. Come on, car. Show some passion. To the outside once again. Drain that ERS battery. Go on. Round the outside again. A familiar move against a different foe. Straight into P1 once again. And now I should be good to pit in P1 and trigger an undercut. Will the undercut even work? I don't know. Right, so here we go. Let's turn right and get in that pit lane. Into the pits. We must go. E-I-E-I-E-I-O. Oh, oh. Our Sonoda's also come in. We're going for a little foot crim F1 team double stack, and that should be perfectly fine. So we come out on the mediums before Sonoda's even got there, which is lovely. We now exit the pits. We come out in a lovely bit of clean air. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. Now it's time for the next 2 or 3 laps to absolutely dump my ERS battery until there's quite literally like 10% left, and then just have some decent laps and get an undercut. Right, it looks like all of the front runners have actually come into the pits, so that was a very important outlap, and I am going to get out ahead, but it's actually not by the biggest of margins. As you can see, it is a big advantage compared to what I had before, but nothing too crazy. Only 1.8. Oh, Drogovic, you legend. Drogovic goes into the pits and just about gives me a lovely little booster of DRS. What an absolute legend of the Formula 1 world. And so at the end of lap 13 and now on lap 14, my gap is 2.5 over Norris and now, well, sorry, over Russell. And what I was going to say is I hope Norris can now try and challenge Russell, go for a little bit of a scrap, and gain me some time. Russell Verstappen. Wait, where's Verstappen come from? Wait, I'm so confused. There seems to be a 3-way scrap going on right now between Russell, Norris, and Verstappen. I didn't even realise Verstappen had got himself back up to P3. And now he's actually dropping down to P5 to his own teammate. And has also extended my gap to Russell by an extra second. I am so confused as to what's just happened. All I know is Verstappen's dropped like 2 places and my gap to Russell's extended by over a second. Baffling, but an absolute W. Russell and Norris going for it, and you can see my gap to the cars behind getting so big. Holy shit. And it's just because Russell and Norris are having a hard scrap. You can see them. Look at them go. 5.6 now is my gap to P2. Come on. What's happened there? There is so much fighting going on behind me. I can't even keep track of it. Piastri's now moved up to P2, or P3, sorry. And Lando Norris has started to really cut into my lead. I am so baffled right now. Right, lap 19. Still lapping in a low minute 4. My gap out in front is 4.8. And although Norris is catching quite quickly, you know, he's going to have to do about 8 tenths a lap. I don't think it's enough. I don't think Lando Norris can catch me by that much of a margin per lap. But it's happened before, so you never know. Russell has now dropped down to P5, and Verstappen's done his teammate to P4. No, he hasn't. Yes, he has. Okay, Verstappen up to P3. Good job, Verstappen. Not really bothered, but, you know, fair enough. Fighting your teammate. Good stuff. Well done. Norris only caught me by about 2 tenths that lap, which is nowhere near enough. And, of course, every single lap, the amount he has to catch me by just gets bigger and bigger. So it's looking really, really good. Lap 22 now. Gap is at 4 seconds, and he will literally have to do about 1.3 seconds a lap to catch me. I know what's coming, and so do you. Come on, let's finish this. To begin lap 23. Let's go. Right, penultimate lap begins now. Let's go. Gap to 2.9. Norris is seriously cooking me right now, but I just don't think it's enough at all. Wait, nowhere near. Right, final lap of the Austrian Grand Prix. Here we go. It's time to dump that ERS. And as you can see, Lando Norris has actually got that gap down to 2.2. A very commendable effort by him. but I don't think it's enough. His quabbling and scrapping with the likes of Piastri and Russell has completely ruined this man's chance of a win. Gap down to 2 seconds as we get past Sector 1. Piastri and Verstappen and Russell still fighting, although it's mostly between Verstappen and Russell at this point. Try and get a decent exit through here. I've kind of struggled on the exit of that corner for a while now this race. But yeah, this is probably the most unexpected result of the season, purely because I said at the start of this episode that Austria is one of my weaker tracks, and there is no denying that this is one of my weaker tracks. But I've come here with a mediocre qualifying, a pretty decent sprint race, with one of my best race drives I've ever done. And you guessed it, it's another Grand Prix victory for Futimus Trimitus, the foot. Oh my. And there you have it, P1 once again, 5 in a row. If you count the sprint race, which of course I'm not going to, you get 6 wins, but 5 out of 6 Grand Prix I have been victorious in. And there I am with a British flag. It's a shame we don't have God Save the King blaring out of them speakers, but we take that. And it's, to be fair, Russell was just a slightly better driver. We could have had a British 1, 2 and 3 in Austria, but we don't. We have a British 1, 2 and a cheeky little Dutch to finish up the podium. Alright, so here's the final finishing race order. Those are the total points from the sprint and the Grand Prix. This is the Grand Prix. 1.3 seconds. Lando Norris. I want to see Lando Norris's lap times at the end there, because they were seriously strong. Look at that. Low 1 minute 4s, high 1 minute 3s. But what I want to take you note of is my lap times. Look at that consistency. From when I put on the mediums, a 3.2, 3.7, 4, 3.8, 4.2, 4.3, 4.3, 4.1, 4.5, 4.4, 4.7, 4.8, 4.6. That is one of the most consistent drives I have ever put together in this game. That is about, what, 12, 13 laps of my lap times being within about half a second of each other. Unreal. Now, Drivers' Championship is also Yuki Tsunoda in the race. P13. What are we doing, Yuki? Anyway, here's the standings. 60-point lead after 6 out of 16 Grand Prix. That's 60-point lead to Perez. How Perez is still second, I have no clue. He actually didn't even score points in the sprint and finished 6th in the race. How this man is still P2 by 11 points. Russell, Iwasa, Norris, what are we doing? Catch up. And now, the Constructors, a 47-point advantage over Mercedes. Somehow, my advantage in the Constructors is smaller than the one in the Drivers. I don't even know how that works. But anyway, that's it from me today here in Austria. An absolute banger of an episode, an absolute banger of a race. I'll see you next time for another My Team Career Mode video. I'll probably be doing My Team Career Mode all the way into F124 drops, and then I have 5 to 6 series planned on that game. The content's going to be mental, but anyway, that's all from me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!